record on this computer and share Chrome. Here we go. All right, welcome everyone to the December, oh my God, it's December already, 25th, first, woo, Christmas, December 1st, MicroProfile live Hangout. A link to the meeting minutes is in the chat, and it is everyone's shared responsibility to take notes, so please do that. Also, if you're on the call, please add your name to the list of meeting contributors. Okay, so actually, Sharon, you're on. You sent out an email last week, and I apologize, I was on PTO, so I didn't see it until I got back. But I did add it to the meeting minutes. So if you want to talk about the steering committee committer representative ballot initiation.
Sure, thanks, John, and no problem. I sent it out last week just kind of as a reminder for all of us that we do not forget this item. So, you know, where we currently are with standing up the working group, there's no reason that we don't consider holding the committer member representative election. So to kick that off, we would like to have the steering committee's approval to do so. I'm not sure if you have quorum of the steering committee today to even discuss it, but certainly it needs to happen sooner rather than later so that we could kick this off. Ideally, kicking it off in the month of December and getting it done and ready for the new year, I think would be some goodness for the working group.
Sharon, let me interject here. We have been waiting for Edwin to be a committer. We're waiting on that, and that is holding the elections.
Edwin is a committer as of today.
Yeah. Yes, I have new. You bring the news.
Sorry, yes. I'm sorry.
No problem. No, yeah, someone has to do it. Yeah, but yes, okay. As of today, I'm a committer.
Congratulations, Edwin.
Congratulations, and now you just don't know what you're getting yourself into.
Exactly.
I know.
That's why we're also happily congratulating you.
Yes, yeah. Exactly.
Well, now, okay, so Sharon and Paul, thank you so much because you have helped us expedite Edwin's nomination and now conversion under the new documentation, right? So that took some time. The question is, we have only two committers that are interested. It's Bruno Batista and Edwin. I think we need to just send an email. My recommendation is to send an email to the community forum and say, thus far we have two. And we give a deadline, say by next Tuesday, there is a community call. Anyone else can submit their want to be nominated. And if no one else decides to jump into the vote, I said on that day, next Tuesday, we can vote to say +1 by the 5 members. Are we okay with this? Are there any other things that we need to consider?
So I think as long as you're sending out the messaging and anyone who is a committer sees that messaging, and if there are no further candidates and you want to initiate it, I think that's fine. My assumption though is you are going to hold an election for those two, or you will ask the Eclipse Foundation to hold it for the working group on your behalf.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we have Rudy help us figure out some things that we want to use in the future, but given the timing in 4.0, how, if we use the Eclipse methodology, will it take 2 weeks?
Yeah, we usually like to give at least 10 days to hold a vote.
Is it 10 working days? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Is it 10 working days or 10 calendar days?
So it can be either or. we like to have at least 10 days in between. And yeah, that typically would be spaced out at 10 business days. Just because, you know, sometimes folks on the weekends, you know, aren't checking email and that kind of thing. But again, you know, we can make it a little longer, we can make it a little shorter, but we certainly wouldn't go anything, I don't believe, below seven business days.
If Rudy put work into voting systems, I'd really love to hear his perspective. if you're there, Rudy.
Yeah, I was looking for the unmute button.
As always, right?
Yeah, I made a summary of those things because we had the more or less the requirement that although we have a voting, that the results should be public, so that everyone should see how each person has voted. I'm not sure if that still stands, but that was at that time, I think, more or less the requirement.
Yes.
And what I found the easiest, but I have to dig up that document again, is using that the Google groups for that. Because there you can do some kind of moderating, that you hold on the results of everyone until the final day, and then you can, the administrator can release all the messages, and then everyone can see the votes and calculate for themselves, if needed, who will be the winner.
So, sorry, there's two things here. I think one is I think for formal, because it's going to be the steering committee members that have the binding votes, right? Is that true?
No,
or is it
it's
the community.
the whole
It's the
community.
community.
No.
I stand corrected, so I'll be quiet.
Yeah.
The committers themselves vote on
committers,
who
okay.
represents them, okay? And just keep in mind, if you're not going to use the CLIPS Foundation to hold this, it still has to be a single transferable vote. So that means somebody has to be doing the math behind it if you're not using a system.
Yes. So let me go in there. Rudy, the document you created was fantastic. And I think the option of having the votes be counted privately and then be shared with a tele is the best way to go. Rudy went in, and even we could hire or buy a subscription, but that was like, that was also a good option, Rudy, right? Like to buy the subscription, and then we only add the committers that are listed, the emails, and then move forward. So we have two options. My question is, do we do it for this time, which is so amazing and important, and bring this level of transparency that we wouldn't have otherwise? Do we have the time? And if we do so, we just use 1 week, 7 days, right? Not including Saturday and Sunday to do that. Or are those of you into, let's just keep it and let's just use the clips and move forward for this one? How do we feeling? I feel like we should have full transparency and ownership.
I guess I have two different perspectives. When we're voting on technology, the process that Rudy describes with everything, with all the results going public and all that stuff, I think is great. When we're voting on people, I don't mind using the established CLIPS process, because voting on people does require, something fair, like a single transferable vote. That doesn't really apply to technology votes.
Yep. I agree. I think I was going to say, and then for voting people, I prefer to be like blind. So basically, if it's two very comparable people, you vote one instead of the other one, I think is not something I think we should share in public and etc.
So
I think it's great to use the Eclipse Foundation way, because it has been established in the fair.
So just to kind of add to that, it is an anonymous, and just so you know, we don't pay for a subscription unless we go over a certain amount of people. So it's actually not going to cost anybody any money. It's a secure system. People receive ballots. They go online, they cast their votes. They don't get to see what other people are doing. So there's no kind of perceived notion that there's influence because you can see what other people are doing, right? And so that might prohibit somebody from actually being honest and casting the vote for who they want to. So this is completely an anonymous system. I add in all the people, I add in the voters, and it gets sent out. And I don't even, can see everything. At the end of the day, what we can tell you from an election is how many people voted. And I think that's an important metric to have as well, from a community perspective, right?
Okay, so Sharon, this is the part that we talked like 2-3 months ago. You said that the Eclipse Foundation would be able to share the number of votes and the percentage each nominee got. Is that still true?
So we said that we would, and I believe we did share for Jakarta, how many people actually voted. I don't know that we agreed to share who got removed at each round of the single transferable vote. That's something that we could look into if you feel it's important to have that. But on behalf of the Eclipse Foundation, we're taking that information for auditing purposes, and we know what happened during, you know, the single transferable vote. I'm not sure if there's really any benefit to the community to know that, but something we could look into.
I think I agree. I agree with this. I think it's what you shared is good enough. We don't think it's important to see which round. We are not doing election. We are not doing electing a president here.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, if people are interested to run and then they're not successful, I think bringing any extra attention to when and where they were removed from the vote, I don't know that that brings any goodness to anything. At the end of the day, we thank everybody for voting, and obviously we wouldn't want to make somebody feel bad so that they would decide not to throw their hat in again the next time around.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm going to try to move this along here a little bit. So it sounds like, let's see, how do we officially kick off the process? So we're saying let's get the nominees over the next week. Then let's say this time next week, which would be what, the 8th, I think, we would officially kick it off, the vote. What needs to happen for that to be an official kickoff of the vote?
So we'd like the steering committee to vote to kick off the ballot. And then we will take over at that point, and we will create candidate profiles, publish that to the mailing list, and then within a couple of days actually start the election.
So do you mean, when you say the mailing list, Sharon, sorry, John, you mean the working group or the forum? Because we use usually the forum, and this was a vote, so it will be the working group, correct?
It will be the working group mailing list. That is our canonical vehicle to use. Yeah.
So is everyone okay for us to send a message to the general forum, say this is what is happening? We definitely do need this out this year. That was the hope that we had when launching the project on October 1st. So we had a quarter to work on the logistics of nominating someone. We have 2 representatives. I can own that draft if no one else does it, or someone else can do it. Even Edwin can do it. Maybe Edwin, you want to own that email, say, we have this, we have been asked to do X because we have to do it before the end of the year. And this will happen, the steering committee will vote on Tuesday to allow the Eclipse Foundation to start the process. It will take 10 days. And then, Sharon, can we agree to add that in the 10 days weekends, so that it's shorter time before the holidays? If we start next week, I'm checking the calendar.
Yeah, check the calendar. Yeah, if to give us that 10 days plus a couple of extra days to circulate the candidate information. I think that's important to let people read the candidate information and digest it, and then receive their ballots, 2 or 3 days later.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I'd like to get these dates documented here in the notes, and then I can add it to the calendar as well. So we're saying
December 8th, the steering committee votes. The Eclipse Foundation is notified via the working group on the 8th. After the votes, we sent, the ballots. We send it to, and we add Sharon to it. Sharon, when we send a note to you or Paul, do you prefer we add you in the 2 or the CC, or it's not necessary for that message to come and say Eclipse Foundation, or we just use EMO or just you on the message?
I think CCing the working group itself works, because then we all get notified of the message. Okay, so 8/8 we vote. We send a message to the working group, and then Sharon,
moves forward, it will be 10 days, including weekends. So that would be another ballot. 10 days starting on the 8th. I would say the 9th. Sharon, do you think that the 9th is better than the 8th? Like that, you have a whole day to, I have no idea about this process. So,
in terms of the working group vote, by the way, we don't need to wait to December 8th. We got 7 days between now and then. We could just launch a vote thread off today.
yes.
And wrap it up in like 72 hours or something like that.
Well, we did bring, Amelia brought up a good point, is do we
want more
do we want to give a week? Yeah, do we want to give a week for other people to put their head in the ring? I'll be honest, this has been a topic for a long time.
We can vote to say, this is the plan we're okay with. You know what I mean?
So, David, you're saying the steering committee could vote today to proceed towards nomination and then subsequent balloting.
Right, like whatever. When the plan gets put to the list, we can just simply have a vote. Yes, this is the plan. We don't actually need to wait till December 8th to talk about what we just talked about now and say we officially agree.
Yeah,
we got 7 days. We could vote asynchronously between now and then to clear this off.
Yes, so that is okay. But John, you are correct. I am concerned that we need to have one extra push to say, if you are a committer and you want to vote, you have until this day to say, I want to run. That's it. I want to run. And then one sentence, like one paragraph, you need to make your statement so that we can use it. If you want to run, like we have Bruno, he has not written the statement. So now the follow-up is, I can even own that task. I will use the thread where he said he wants to run and he needs to write a statement. Because if I believe I wrote a statement for Edwin, and I believe that Sharon can use that part of it to say, this is why he's running. He got nominated, and then move forward. Copy paste. It tells you why he's awesome. Bruno nominated himself. He needs to write a statement. Is that correct, Sharon? We need the statement, correct?
So basically what I do, I can do all of this once the steering committee says, go ahead with the ballot. I can start emailing, asking for nominations, self-nominations. Then when we get the nominations, I send them all a brief information that I want to put a bio together. I take those bios and then I push those out to the mailing list, give people 2-3 days to digest, and then we go into an election mode. All of this is the first, this can all be done before we break for holidays.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
If everyone plays game.
Yeah, exactly. Would you just want to write that outline down in an email, and then we can just go ahead and vote on it +1 and we're done with that. Then we're on rails.
Okay.
I can send that out to the mailing list for sure.
That'd be great. And then we can just vote on that, and then we're done.
Yeah.
I just prefer to vote on the list over a longer period of time rather than vote in a 2-minute window on a private call. Or it's not private, it's public, but not everybody can attend. Time zone.
Yeah, we're missing Gelastic today, by the way. So I wouldn't want to do that.
Exactly. So it's kind of an off time zone,
Yeah, we will never vote on the go without.
Okay, so I will send a tentative outline with a tentative date, and I'll ask the steering committee just to please +1, and we will kick it off.
Yeah.
With a.
Please use the 8th as the started date. Okay. And that would work great. And Sharon, thank you so much for explaining. I will add this to the Q&A on working group and lessons learned.
One reminder that it's Jakarta 1 next week on the 8th. So I don't know about the attendance of the next call then.
Yes.
Well, exactly. So that, even more reasons to just vote off on the list.
Yeah, exactly. Probably I won't be able to be in the meeting, in this meeting.
You have 2 sessions.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll be really busy.
Exactly. When those sessions get done 2 minutes before the session is delivered.
Yeah.
But anyway, so then let's close this out. So thank you so much, Sharon, for sending a message. I never saw it, but it's awesome that you did. So then some of the MicroProfiles were read it, and you showed up to say, hey, this is happening. My recommendation is you send the message and it's amazing. And then I checked the minutes and it wasn't there until John added it. So if you send something like that and you will show up in this call because it didn't get traction, you can add it yourself. And instead of us adding it for you. Like that, we know that you're here for a reason, right? Like I have chatted with Paul about this internally, and in that call, I think it's important to say this because the end of the year is here. We're in December. When the Eclipse Foundation shows up to this call's working group, we have to be very careful not to assume that they are here to answer questions. If there is nothing added to the agenda from their side, they are here just as contributors, as anyone else. There is nothing else happening. And this is important because if we have a question, we use the method of writing and requesting the questions over the forums, either the working group or the general forum. Like that, there is no expectations of showing up and expecting to be asked things. And I think this is very, very important. It happened months ago with Ivar and Tanja, and it definitely helped us, do better with communicating. And as we close the year, and this is again recorded, it's important for all of us to know what to expect and how to work together.
Okay. Okay, so let's see here.
Good points. Thanks, Amelia.
So are these notes accurate that I have on the screen? Sharon's going to send an email to the MicroProfile working group for steering committee to vote on initiating ballots. We vote. Committers will be able to formally state their candidacy and provide candidate prospectus, and Eclipse Foundation will run the election.
Mm-hmm. You can add, John, let's add in there that I will forward the message to the working group because we have agreed that we will not mix and confluence and put the two. We will not send the messages to the working group and the forum together. We will use, either the link, so like that, there is no confusion. I noticed this morning that Kevin thankfully noticed that Jelastic voted, but she voted using the general forum, right?
Right.
And then we cannot continue to cross-cross. We need to share the link of the working group and instead of forwarding it. So it's not that I will forward, I will use the link to communicate with the forum. Like that, there are no more mistakes, especially with voting. We're learning, but I'm just saying. It's important, this distinction.
Okay. Any other comments? We're about halfway through. Okay, I think we're set here. MicroProfile 4.0 release. So we have this split into 3 phases. So I stuck these in kind of their own phased bullets. And Emily, do you want to give an update on config?
Yeah, config is pretty much there. Unfortunately, as Amelia said, and Kevin noticed, is the Jelastic voted on the issue and also voted on the Google group instead on the MicroProfile working group, that thread. So which means we cannot conclude the ballot as yet. However, we really need to move on. Hopefully by tomorrow we can get a Jelastic to vote. Otherwise, the reviewing date will elapse. Basically, the Eclipse Foundation reserved the reviewing date tomorrow to be able to give us a go ahead for the final release. So,
It doesn't have to be unanimous, does it? I mean, we've already hit. We've already hit. Supermajority.
Oh yeah, that's true. Could we do the supermajority one? Could we still go ahead to conclude the ballot?
Yeah, but isn't it the case that we have to wait? Okay, this is now a special case because they have voted on the wrong place, but shouldn't we wait until the 14 days are over before you can say the supermajority?
You're right.
Rudy, you called it. I have contacted Jelastic already, not only in the thread that I replied to say.
I did too.
And I will contact Ruslan via WhatsApp immediately after this call to say, hey, can you and Tatiana, they just need to vote. And they are in Europe, so I think they can do it today. But I cannot speak for them. But thank you so much to Kevin, because we would have missed it. I missed it. Vacation and all.
Yeah, so they are Amelia, they are well aware because I was already discussing this with Tatiana on a private email thread, and that's how I wanted to repost it so that they would be able to reply to it.
Yes.
But yeah, so that's good.
Yeah, that is they are amazing and really, really on it. So if you're in a private, then I don't have to contact them privately. I thought, oh my God, okay, I wouldn't do it again.
So Tiana, so Kevin, Tiana, responded to your message, right? Or you just reached out, you haven't got any reply or not?
I haven't seen anything on the mailing list yet, just a private reply.
Oh, you got a private reply, okay. Okay, so hopefully they will be able to do +1 on that one, and then so Kevin can conclude the ballot, and then so tomorrow is a release date reserved by Eclipse Foundation for the MicroProfile config tool. All the other things, yeah, pretty much done. All the other things are done.
Okay. So once we have that, we'll be able to actually close that vote, close the ballot, I guess.
Yes. One more thing I want to check is for this one, like you know, we have a Bugzilla thing for the review. So once Eclipse Foundation approved that release, and then we can release our staging report, right? And then we click on the release button on the Sonatype, and then all the artifacts will go to Maven Central.
After the vote's completed, correct?
Yeah. Do you mean after the vote completed or after the Eclipse Foundation has done the review?
You can't publish anything till after the vote is completed.
Even after the vote completed, I think Eclipse Foundation is still need to do give us
right, sure.
ahead. Yeah, okay, that's my
Yeah, I believe both of those things have to complete, but
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, okay.
Sorry about
Thank
that.
you. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to health 3.0. Martin?
Hey, so Emily proclaimed health ballot completed by the start of the meeting, and I just didn't hear what was the last comments that David and Emily made. So can I just push the release button now, or should I wait for something?
Oh, you need to wait. There's a like now, yeah, now is the ballot has concluded. So Gelastic voted, everybody voted. So that's good. Thank you, everybody. So it's kind of, and then Eclipse Foundation put tomorrow, 2nd December as a reviewing date. Once Eclipse Foundation saying approved on that, Bugzilla, your Bugzilla, the Bugzilla you open for MicroProfile Health, and then you can click the button.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. Yeah, as a to-do, I will document, I will edit our wiki, release a wiki, and to document the steps and etc. so people can follow. John, not wait for config to conclude. Wait for the Eclipse. Wait for Eclipse Foundation to approve the release.
Yeah, sorry. That's what I get for multitasking.
Well, I think, John, are you the one typing?
Yes, yes. Slowly, but yes.
Sorry about it. It's part of about the process, and I think I just replied to the about transferring to the MicroProfile working group the emails that we created, 4 of them total, I believe, that are part of the system to the drive. John, do you want to take care of that, or do you want me to just drop it?
No, I'll do it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Everyone you can just take a look at the Google group about that. It's just a it's a minor formality about where we put these emails templates.
Sense. No, it makes
yeah. So let's see. Don, metrics.
Yeah, so I guess looking at the ballot, I see from the notes going back and forth and from the spreadsheet, it looks like we've got 5 different folks that have put a +1 on it. So I don't know what our cutoff threshold is for that.
We need to wait for 7 days. We have not exited from the ballot as yet, at least 7 days. I created the summary on the spreadsheet. Kevin, like I mentioned on the mailing list, on the MicroProfile working group mailing list. I already summarized the ballot result for both metrics and health. I thought I followed up and sent an email. Probably I haven't clicked send that yet. Anyway, it's a ballot has not been concluded because we need to for 7 days.
Okay. All right. So yeah, that's I guess where we're at. We have I see from the Eclipse side that we've got a Bugzilla, I guess bug open to track the release. Looks like I assume for everybody, they're just approving the IP logs. That I'm not sure what the process is around the IP logs.
Yeah, we share the same IP logs. So
okay.
So one look at it, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I guess in that case, I don't know of anything else that I need to do at this stage.
Don, I have a question for you. When you created the issue for review, and I really like that you're here so you can ask these questions. Did you expect the steering committee to +1 or review that, the process before we pushed it to the working group, or what were your expectations because you are onboarding and you are piloting the first release with us?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I just following the steps in the issue from the MicroProfile Git repo that you guys had set up, and I guess you'd commented on that at one point too, which I think that just included the last 2 steps for us to send out the note to the PMC and the EMO notes to get it started. So it's a little bit opaque to me because I haven't been involved in all the discussions as to what those reviews actually do. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was certainly followable enough. It's just a little bit of a black box as to what these steps actually do and how they conclude.
Okay, so then you were able to follow it like you said, but then you were still not sure what to expect. So do you believe that we don't want to make it super big, but do you believe that it would be beneficial for people like you that are very technical and just focused on following the steps and releasing the code to have something in the MicroProfile working group repo where we expand on each of the sections so that individuals like you can go and also go into there and know much more of the detail of what's what. We make sure that the steps were very concise, and then the plan is to document, but we have not started the documenting, and we hope that microprofilers like you can help on that, because you have to suffer through what is in there and how you understand and consume the steps.
So, the checklist was good. I think having a simple checklist to follow is better than having something that's 10 pages long. But I think it would be useful to have a link that explains perhaps the whole process, not in like 20 pages of detail, but something that's maybe a page of detail that just sort of explains what the different steps are for and what to expect.
So
sorry.
sorry, Amelia, can I just step in to say something? So this is kind of the wiki I mentioned earlier. So we have the release wiki. So basically, yeah, when you do release, you follow the release wiki. So this is the kind of, I said I'm going to take a to explain like the new release process. So at what time you can click the release button on the Sonatype. So this is the kind of, your next step is wait for the condition to arise for you to be able to click the release button on the Sonatype. And then you don't need to do anything else. So,
exactly. Yeah, that's kind of what's missing at this point, is it sort of gets you as far as telling PMC and EMO what you're up to and ask for the review to be initiated, but then there's no follow-on steps.
Yeah.
So perhaps there should be some follow-on steps that say after the vote concludes, then you can release your artifacts in Sonatype, that kind of information.
Yeah. So it's the vote concluded, and also the Eclipse Foundation approved the Bugzilla as well.
Right.
Yeah. I will get that done on the wiki so people can follow.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, you guys did a good job on at least making the steps easy enough to follow. I thought that was good.
My closing this, and because I think it's amazing that you went through it and we got that. And I before vacation, I went in there, and then Emily helped because I was going away, and I asked for the help so that we can add the extra step. But Don, if you are able to check the wiki because you already went through it and you can see I was in it, this was not helpful, this is helpful. If you can make it much more compact, that is what we need, right? Because it's not, those ones that created the steps shouldn't be just the only ones creating the wiki. We should have people like you, microprofilers like you, going in there and saying it needs to be X, right? Like you can. Right. So can you do that also and say, hey, I will help on this?
I'll have to take a look at it.
Yeah, I did already, but it needs like the Dawn. It needs like it needs other eyes of the ones that are consuming the steps.
Yeah, so I will take a shoot and then and then I send an email and on the Google group, and then people, yeah, like John, Don, everybody else can go and read to see whether it makes sense. I think this is the first time we use this process. We are learning as we go through. So
much fun, and it's super fun. So yeah.
Okay, so let's see here. So next is fault tolerance.
So we need to config and metrics to finish, and then we can do the, start the ballot.
So there is a checklist that's been created, right? So I mean, so we can go and take a look at it. What about JWT and the REST client?
So they also would need to wait for a config to finish. So that's why it's kind of, I'm kind of quite
they should be able to create that issue.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm looking for.
That's for sure. They can create the issue.
So who wants to take the AI for REST client and JWT?
For REST client, I reached out to Andy Mcgrath. He's happy to do it. For JWT, don't know.
I can do it with thje. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
So, John, I think you're assigning REST client to Roberto. I think he was volunteering for JWT.
Okay.
Yeah, JWT.
Well noticed.
And I hope you get over your cold soon, Kevin.
Yeah.
This is difficult to talk.
I know. I heard when you opened your mouth on the steering committee, I'm like, oh, Kevin got sick for his vacation.
Oh,
So Kevin,
Unfortunately.
is this where I bring up the Save Ferris again?
Yeah.
and Kevin, congratulations on 3 days a week working. Like the message was amazing. I know this is not a community call, but it was amazing to get that.
This is a community call. They're all community calls.
Yeah, I know, but this is like technical in before. But I thought it's important to say welcome back, and we love that you are Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Certainly better than retiring.
Yes.
I mean, for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
So can someone, can someone stick in Andy for, thanks. I don't have him in autocomplete.
I can do it.
Okay, thanks, Andy.
All right, and we should probably do the same thing for Open Tracing and OPI, Open API. Any volunteers, again, just to create the issue?
I can help with open tracing, or either. Okay, I'll do open tracing. Create an issue.
It's going to your Google Mail.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeesh.
I just want to mention that if somebody else will create an issue in the MicroProfile organization, then only you and I think few selected individuals are able to edit the description. So if then someone from Open Tracing or Open MPI would like to add links, they will not have the option.
Do you mean committers?
Committers don't have push rights to
Well,
MicroProfile.
the issue, and we discussed that briefly over the last call, is that we are committers on the Eclipse organization at GitHub, but we don't have committer rights in the working group repository, because that's on a different GitHub organization. It's not on Eclipse.
Yeah, we need to transfer that to MicroProfile. I thought we did already. We didn't?
Well, I mean, I think it's going to require a wider discussion. First, because it's going to be tricky to synchronize permissions between both. And second, we need to discuss if we want to keep the projects at Eclipse, or if they have, or if we're going to move what's in on the MicroProfile organization to Eclipse. In my opinion, we should only use one organization. Right now, it's just split between Eclipse and the MicroProfile organization at GitHub, which is kind of like a pain, because then you get these kind of issues.
Well, we agreed, I thought, to move everything over to the over to the MicroProfile repo, but just not for this release, just because of timing.
Yes, but we did.
That's what I recall.
Yeah,
so it stinks for this release. I agree, but it's just a one release thing.
Yeah,
that's my recollection.
No, yeah, and we have it in minutes that we agreed. The discussion has been done. Do we need to? If Roberto was confused, then that shows that, and we even send the notes to the forum. That means that we did not do a good job closing the.
Could be a brain hiccup. I mean, I had one earlier on committer votes. so it happens, right? So
you're not allowed to be human. It's just.
Oh, I mean, if that was discussed and it was decided, I mean, I don't remember, so sorry about that.
No, Roberto, it's fine. On the contrary.
Just wait till you hit 50, man. It gets much worse.
Roberto's not even 40.
Fortunately, Roberto's got plenty of time on that one.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move forward on this one. Open tracing. Do I remove this from Emily, or do I keep it with Emily?
Oh, I created the issue already.
You did. Okay. All right. It's done. So Open API. No volunteers right now. I don't know if there needs to be honest, right now. If you volunteer, just add assign yourself the issue. And if you can, for those that have created them, can you make this a link off to the GitHub issue? So Emily, can you link the GitHub issue right here?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna, if you don't mind, Martin, I'm gonna, we have about 10 minutes. I'm gonna kind of put this one on pause, the staging augmenter. Hopefully we'll get back to that. I think at this point, I wanted to move to, because we need to nail this down, the marketing release or platform release for the platform spec, right? We've had this out there in the discussion forums for probably a month. And I think it was, in fact, I think it was almost exactly a month. It was November, actually, no, it's longer than a month. So, but we decided a month ago on this
2 months
call to actually make it a marketing release, but we wanted to put it out in the forum. There hasn't been any additional comments. So I would like to close this issue as for MicroProfile being a marketing release. Is there any comments on that?
John, I brought out something maybe a month ago. This has been rotating for 2 months actually. And I said, given what we have gone through with the infra, I think we should do a marketing dash infra. We definitely had, we are going undertaking a totally different way of releases. And if we don't acknowledge that the infra has been impacted, you know, we are not being honest on the release. It's a marketing infra release. That is how I see it.
I'm not really sure the significance of that. I think what people really are looking to understand is, you know, well, is this an official specification or not? And the term marketing is just sort of a a maybe not clever way to say it's not a official specification release. So we don't really need to get too fussed about whether it's a marketing or marketing/infra. Really, the most important thing is it's just not an official specification release.
Right. Right.
Yeah. We can just directly say MicroProfile for the old release, not to say anything with it. And then I think originally I disagreed, but I think it makes sense. We don't have much time if we want to release for all this year at all. I mean, if we just say for the release, then we bypass all the kind of ballot and etc. I think it's yeah.
We don't need a ballot. We don't need a ballot for this, Emily. I'm confused.
No, we don't.
Confused because I said if we don't do it proper release, like if we do as a spec release, we need to go through a ballot. If we just to say MicroProfile for all as a group things, and then we do not need to go through the ballot. So that's why I'm saying. So it's
there was something about the TCK that we can't pass the TCK for it, right? It was also in the discussion.
Well, there is no TCK for it.
No TCK.
Yeah, so we can't release it as a specification because there is no TCK backing it up.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we could make a spec and TCK. It would just simply be a combination of all the TCKs, and the requirement would be you got to pass them. So we can certainly do that for the future, but just for the time being, we just get by with what we got.
Okay.
I think let's just call it a release, no going through the ballot.
And in that note, and this is really good, John, thanks for reminding us. In that note, weeks ago, I sent a note via the marketing forum to Emily and Roberto, who agreed back when to be like one of the writers of the release. We have a template and we just need to add some things. What Edwin said is so important. We, in the initial part of the blog, even Edwin, if you want to help on that to be one of the contributors, I will forward you or add you into that thread that is public in the marketing side. You are not a subscriber, so you will not be able to write anything. But if you subscribe, you can help on that by contributing to the blog. Because TCK is not run. That is exactly the difference.
Okay.
On the blog.
All right, I'd like to kind of switch back. I think we've agreed at this point that it's a marketing it's a marketing release. So that means on the marketing call next week we'll have to discuss this in more detail. And Edwin, feel free to to join the marketing call as well on Monday next week.
So John, before you switch the topic, so with this, MicroProfile for can like create a release. We can create a MicroProfile for a release as soon as all the spec has been released. We can release on the same day as all the spec has been released, and then push it to Maven Central straight away, right?
Yeah, same day is a question mark, but yeah, within a day or two.
Yeah, once they anyway end up on Maven Central. Yeah.
Yeah. So we could definitely do that. So actually, Edwin could do that now. Now that he has a commit rights, we can actually have Edwin click all the buttons. So after the last spec is done, approved, then Edwin, you and I, or you with my support, and Emerson can also be on the call. We'll go through the motions again. Okay, so I'd like to give the last 4 minutes to Martin, and then I'll have a minute to kind of close out the call. So Martin, staging augmenter.
Okay, thank you. So I wrote a really small tool last week that basically takes settings XML and adds a new profile default to MP-staging and basically adds a list of repositories that you provide on command line to it. So in this sense, you can provide it with a list of staging repositories, and it will create a new profile, which we can use for a release job to build a new specification, pulling artifacts from staging repositories of other specifications. So basically this should solve our issue with waves, and we can do everything in basically hours.
Is this one is basically enables we put all the release together. So basically it's we don't need to put.
You can run, for instance, REST client if it depends on config, and config is still not released, only in staging with that staging augmenter -r config staging repository URL, and just point it to some settings XML, which we have in our Jenkins job, and it will add a new profile called MP staging with that repository of config set. So basically then you can do Maven clean install -s path to that output setting XML, and it will pull config dependency from the staging repository of config. So it's basically similar build to as if config was already released. Of course, if config ballot fails, then we need to restart it altogether, but we can vote in parallel.
Yeah, this is great. This is Kevin and I discussed earlier, and regarding this kind of the kind of different phase and then delay the release process. I think also Kevin mentioned in Jakarta EE, David also wrote something similar. David, did you write something similar about solve all the dependencies so that they can all go to release at the same time as well, right?
Oh, you mean the dependency analysis between the different specifications?
No. Here, I'll try to explain. What I was talking to Emily about was the way that we have that combined staging repository for Jakarta EE. And I mentioned that I know that you're not a big fan of that, but it would help with sharing of the different artifacts as the different components are trying to prepare their releases, and then the staged artifacts could be picked up by other components.
Well, yeah, so what's the question?
The question is whether or not should we do something like that for MicroProfile to have a combined staging area for the MicroProfile artifacts, like what we have for Jakarta EE? Right now, we're doing them all in separate repositories.
So the separate repositories are always going to exist. And because that's what's there in under the covers. The combined repo, it also exists. And if people want to build against it, that's okay. So they can get their builds across.
Oh, so that's created like automatically? I mean,
it's virtual. So basically, Nexus has the ability to proxy other repositories as well as host a repository.
Okay.
And so the kind of like global staging repository is a concatenation. It's a view, like a database view, on all of the staged repositories that exist. So those numbered repositories, and it creates that view by literally layering them one over the top. So if you have two stage repositories for the same API, the database view, so to speak, is going to contain them both, and the most recent one is going to win. But that does create some issues, because if you have the older one still hanging around, and has more binaries than the second one, you'll see a combination of them both. Also, it's a cache of any things that the build that rely. If you point your build at that staging location, the virtual one, and you pull dependencies from Maven Central, they'll also get cached in that virtual database, that virtual view. So that virtual view is basically a virtual view of all repositories, staging and final, and they're cached for 30 days. Okay. So it's possible that you are building against something that is a cached version and the actual staged repository was deleted, which is why it gets a little messy. We can still use it, we just need to understand how volatile it is.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
Yeah, it did to me, but I don't know about everyone else.
So we're near the top. We're past the top of the hour. Is there any kind of closing comments on this?
Well, I don't know. On the Tommy side, we actually just, if we're going to do a build against the staging repository, we just literally put the staging repository in our repository list in the POM file and delete it as soon as the release is done.
Yeah, well, this is exactly the same idea. This would be just done dynamically in the release job of specs that are in following waves. So
Totally.
JWT or REST client can make their staging final release build in a release job with dependencies pulled from other staging repositories.
That works.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
No, the only issue that I see is that those staging repos are, in a sense, dynamic. The URL changes every time, so that means that you need to update your CI job every time.
So I would add a new input field into the release job where you would put these repositories when you are running the final build of your specification. So this will be used only once to build your specification.
Oh, that's
so if I have green light, I will do it tomorrow.
That's certainly workable. I mean, personally, I think specifications are allowed to make these choices themselves. So, that's certainly a clean approach. If people want to use the kind of big repo, they can, but they just might get bit.
Well, nothing will change if you leave that new field empty. So you can use it, but you don't need to.
But this is
okay.
This is good. We can, yeah.
Sorry, I'm hoping we can finish this off in the forums here. And Tanja, go ahead. Go ahead and
just a 5-second reminder. So next Tuesday, MicroProfile Jakarta and MicroProfile community are having the Jakarta One live stream, do not forget to register for the event. I have pasted here the website. I will put it in the meeting minutes as well, and I will send it to the community, to the forum as well. So help with the promotion, and I hope to see everyone there.
Yeah. Do we want to cancel this Tuesday call?
I think it's a good idea. I won't be on this call anyway, so it's all, yeah.
Sorry, you mean cancel the live Hangout next week?
Yeah, just to not step on.
Not the live stream, not the live stream.
Yeah,
That's
no. We wouldn't want to give you a heart attack, like, oh yeah, by the way.
So I think what I'll do is probably send out reminders at this time next week, just about getting the spec checklist updated for the next phase of specs, because everything else should be done by then, I hope, or near being final. So all right, with that, I'll go ahead and cancel this meeting next week, so we can all attend the live stream, and I guess I will see everyone in 2 weeks, same bat time, same bat channel. So that'll be December 15th. And that's probably going to be our last call.
Yeah.
And I will see you all on
Of
the
the year.
live stream next Tuesday.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
sure.
don't cancel it.
I
Don't
will
cancel
see
it.
you for sure.
All right. All right.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
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 Yep. Bye.